After my sister was in a car accident, her personality changed drastically. She vehemently tried to stop me from marrying my fiancé Robert Sterling. She claimed she was reborn. Robert Sterling's true love was my best friend Jessica. And 3 years after I married Robert Sterling, he would make my life a living hell to force me to divorce him and marry my best friend instead, even ruining our entire family. Of course, I didn't believe it. My best friend had just returned here. They had no connection. How could my best friend be Robert Sterling's true love? It wasn't until a fire suddenly broke out at the bridal shop and Robert Sterling abandoned me to rescue my best friend from the fire that I realized my sister was telling the truth. To make way for Robert Sterling and Jessica, I called off the wedding. Later, I heard that the most privileged scion of the city's elite circles, the heir to the Sterling fortune, had made a grand, desperate public apology, even kneeling around the city, begging for his fiancée's forgiveness. That day, while trying on the wedding dress, my sister Olivia, still wrapped in bandages from the car accident, ran out of the hospital. "Sophia, you can't marry Robert Sterling." Olivia clutched my arm tightly, her face urgent. "Sophia, believe me. I'm reborn. Robert Sterling doesn't love you at all. The one he loves is your best friend Jessica. He's only marrying you to spite your best friend Jessica. 3 years from now, he'll make your life a living hell to force you to divorce him. Mom will end up in the hospital from worrying too much, fall ill and pass away from grief. Dad, trying to protect you, will be beaten until he is disabled by Robert Sterling's bodyguards. I even died in a car accident they orchestrated, Robert Sterling and your best friend Jessica." Olivia roared, disregarding her appearance, tears welling up in her eyes. I subconsciously thought she'd lost her mind. Reborn? How could that be? Let alone Robert Sterling. Loving my best friend, they didn't even know each other. My best friend and I met in high school. After graduating from college, she went abroad. If she hadn't heard I was getting married, she wouldn't have come back here. And she came back here just to be my bridesmaid. We'd been best friends for 5 years. I'd never heard of her having any connection with Robert Sterling. "Liv, did the car accident injure your head? Go back to the hospital and rest," I said, patiently coaxing Olivia. Olivia's grip on my hand loosened, and large tears rolled down from her eyes. "Sophia, given a second chance, I won't let you step into that hell again." She was my own sister, after all. Even with doubts, I needed to ask and understand. So I asked Olivia, "You say you're reborn. What evidence do you have?" Olivia's gaze darkened, and she said slowly, "Sophia, today at 5 p.m., there will be a fire here. Robert Sterling will abandon you to save your best friend Jessica." My pupils suddenly constricted. I wanted to say more but was interrupted by Jessica's sudden appearance. "Sophia." It was my best friend Jessica. She walked over and hugged me. Olivia seemed very afraid of Jessica. Her face instantly turned pale the moment she saw Jessica. Noticing Olivia's unusual behavior, I couldn't help but ask, "Are you feeling unwell?" "Sophia, I'm feeling a little dizzy. Could you call a cab to take me back to the hospital?" Olivia said. I nodded, "Okay." I took out my phone and called a cab to send Olivia back to the hospital. After Olivia left, Jessica teased me, "Sophia, I can't believe you're getting married so soon. Congratulations. You found such a loving and caring fiancé." I replied, "How about you? You've been abroad for so many years. Haven't you found a boyfriend you like?" Jessica said mockingly, "I'm all alone. Seems no one will ever like me in this lifetime." As Jessica finished speaking, I was about to comfort her when my fiancé Robert Sterling suddenly emerged from the corner and said, "Sophia, how's the wedding dress fitting going?" As he spoke, Robert Sterling came up to me. He was dressed in a suit, looking distinguished and handsome. Robert Sterling was born into a prominent family. His parents were CEOs of a listed company. He came from a privileged background but didn't have the notorious habit of dating around like others from wealthy families. Robert Sterling and I fell in love at first sight. After we started dating, he was incredibly good to me, as if he wanted to give me the best things in the world. People in the city's elite circle said Robert Sterling was completely smitten with me. Robert Sterling and I dated for 5 years. He proposed to me countless times over the years. I only said yes to his proposal a month ago. When I accepted his proposal, he even cried and told me, "Sophia, I'll be good to you for the rest of my life." 5 years together made it impossible for me to believe that the gentle and refined Robert Sterling standing before me would, in the 3rd year of our marriage, make my life a living hell. Snapping back to reality, I said to Robert Sterling, "I haven't tried it on yet. Go try on the wedding dress, babe. I can't wait to see you in it." Robert Sterling tilted his head and kissed my cheek. Today Robert Sterling was unusually cheesy. It wasn't like him, it was more like he was deliberately trying to provoke someone. I looked at my best friend Jessica. She was looking down, saying nothing. And Robert Sterling glanced at her, but there was no change in his expression. Was I overthinking? Just then, Jessica also urged me, "Go on and try the wedding dress. I'm also really looking forward to seeing you in your dress." I gave a soft hum and walked into the bridal shop's fitting room to try on the wedding dress under their expectant gaze. While I was trying on the wedding dress, I deliberately pulled back the curtain to look outside. Robert Sterling and Jessica were standing in separate corners. Robert Sterling was on the phone, while Jessica sat in a corner, lost in thought. They didn't make any suspicious moves while I was trying on the wedding dress. Maybe I really was overthinking. Closing the curtain, I put on the wedding dress I had carefully chosen. It was a bit complicated to put on and took quite a bit of effort. Just as I finished changing and was about to come out, when I pulled back the curtain, the thick smoke outside choked me, making it hard to open my eyes. It was really on fire? And it was exactly 5 p.m. My heart sank. The thick smoke obscured my vision. Robert Sterling and Jessica, who had been waiting outside while I tried on the wedding dress, were gone. "Rob! Jessica!" I shouted while struggling to walk towards the door, dragging the heavy wedding dress. With every step, I was choked by the smoke and coughed. Fortunately, the next second, I saw Robert Sterling. "Rob!" Before I could feel relieved, I heard Jessica's violent coughing. I turned around, wanting to help her, but someone was faster than me. Robert Sterling practically slid on his knees to Jessica's side. At the same time, a burning beam suddenly fell from above, crashing down hard on me. The intense pain made me gasp, tears welling up in my eyes. "Hold on. Don't be scared, I'll get you out." Robert Sterling acted as if he didn't see me. His eyes and heart were solely focused on Jessica. The fierce fire burned his back, his face was red from the heat, but he still shielded Jessica. So, my sister was telling the truth. So Jessica was Robert Sterling's true love. The fire continued to spread. The thick smoke choked me, making it impossible to open my eyes. I could only watch through tears as Robert Sterling carried Jessica away. My leg was pinned by a fallen beam, unable to move. I watched the doorway with a heart full of hope, imagining Robert Sterling would come back to save me, out of consideration for the 5 years we'd been together. But I did. And expect that even as I was about to lose consciousness, I still didn't see Robert Sterling. When I woke up again, I was in a hospital room. "Sophia, you're awake." The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was Robert Sterling's anxious face, just like before. "Sophia." Jessica was also standing by my hospital bed, calling my name. Her gentle voice was like hers in high school. My head suddenly hurt intensely. The 2 people I trusted most had actually abandoned me and left during the fire. "Sophia, I can explain what happened in the fire." Robert Sterling looked at me, seeing my furrowed brow, and explained, "The situation in the fire was too urgent then. I saw that your best friend Jessica's condition was worse. I was afraid that if something really happened to her, you would also be sad and upset. That's why I saved her first. By the time I wanted to rush back into the fire to save you, the fire was already very big. I was blocked at the entrance and couldn't get in, and I later passed out. I wanted to save you, Sophia." Robert Sterling looked at me, his face full of sincerity. "Yes, the situation was very critical then." Jessica also spoke with a serious tone. "After Robert Sterling put me down, he rushed into the fire without looking back, trying to save you. He truly values you more than his own life." I was almost fooled by their pretentious act. But the image of Robert Sterling carrying Jessica away was still vivid in my mind. Did they really think I was that easy to fool? "I want to be alone for a while." Using the excuse of needing rest, I got rid of Robert Sterling and Jessica. Sophia. Olivia walked in. Do you believe me now? Olivia asked me. I hummed softly, you were right. Seeing this, Olivia continued, Sophia, I want to take you somewhere else. Olivia took me to Robert Sterling's neighborhood. Why did you bring me to Robert Sterling's neighborhood? I asked Olivia. This is Robert Sterling's and my wedding home. I had never brought Olivia here before. We're here. Olivia stopped in front of a villa. I spotted Robert Sterling's car immediately. Dad. A little boy rushed up and hugged Robert Sterling. Robert Sterling lifted him high and spun around. Ethan, did you miss Dad? Haven't seen you in a while, Dad missed you so much. I stood frozen, unsure what to do. Dad? Robert Sterling has a child? Who is the child's mother? Could it be? Rob, you spoil him too much. Didn't you say the company was too busy today? Why did you come again? The familiar voice made me freeze in place. It was Jessica. For I postponed the meeting. Didn't Ethan say he missed Dad? Of course Dad had to come and be with you. Robert Sterling dotingly pinched the little boy's cheek. Robert Sterling and Jessica actually had a child together? Then Dad and Mom are sleeping together tonight, okay? Ethan will keep an eye on you, the child's innocent voice rang out. Robert Sterling's expression didn't change at all. Instead, he smiled even wider. Of course. We're a family, of course we'll sleep together. Robert Sterling's lips curved into a smile, staring directly at Jessica. Jessica's face flushed, and she said, pretending to be annoyed, the child is here, what are you saying? Robert Sterling pulled Jessica into a hug and kissed her cheek. What about it? Wasn't I just speaking the truth? You're my wife, what's the problem? Wife. A bitter smile appeared on my lips. Jessica is your wife, so what about me? Robert Sterling had been lying to me for 5 whole years. I was shaking with anger. After I take over everything from the Miller family, I'll bring you and Ethan into our family officially. I'll give you everything I have, Robert Sterling said to Jessica, his eyes full of affection. Everything from the Miller family? My fists clenched involuntarily, so hard that my fingernails dug into my flesh, drawing blood. The person I had loved for 5 years had been using me all along. And wanted to ruin and everything I had. How pathetic. Sophia, in the 3rd year of your marriage, your hand was crippled by Jessica. She knew what you cared about most. After my car accident, my legs were also disabled, and I became a cripple. I couldn't get revenge for you. I was useless, Olivia said with a bitter smile. My heart ached. It was all my fault. I was a poor judge of character, and I ruined our entire family. I won't make the same mistake again, Liv. I hugged Olivia tightly, my eyes burning with hatred. I will make you pay. Soon it was the day of my wedding. Today, I invited all my family and friends, including Robert Sterling's family, to attend, as well as several media outlets. The wedding march began. Amidst the gaze and applause of my family and friends below the stage, I walked step by step towards Robert Sterling. The officiant asked me, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? I didn't answer. The officiant asked again, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? I looked up at Robert Sterling, who was standing in front of me with an affectionate expression. I ripped off the top part of the wedding dress in my hands and looking at Robert Sterling, said, I do not. My resolute voice echoed through the microphone across the entire venue. The audience below the stage erupted in an uproar. What's going on? What's wrong with the bride? Robert Sterling seemed to realize something was wrong, but constrained by the guests below, he only tried to persuade me. What's wrong, Sophia? Can we talk about whatever it is after the wedding? And my good friend Jessica, who was my bridesmaid, also said to me, Sophia, today is the most important day of your life. Haven't you always wanted to marry Robert Sterling? As long as you finish this wedding today, your wish will come true. Whose wish would that be? Hearing this, I sneered. At the same time, I spoke directly, come in. As I finished speaking, Mom, a clear child's voice rang out, and Jessica and Robert Sterling on the stage turned pale. 5 Where did this child come from? Get him out of here, Robert Sterling almost roared. And Jessica, in her bridesmaid dress, was deathly pale. Mom. Ethan rushed onto the stage, grabbed Jessica's leg, and looking at Robert Sterling as he spoke, are you and Dad getting married? The child's words were like a bolt from the blue, causing the guests below the stage to start whispering to each other. Dad? Isn't she the bridesmaid? Who knows? Probably got hooked up with the Sterling family's young master a long time ago. My parents in the audience were furious, their faces grim, saying to Robert Sterling's parents, "Is this how the Sterling family treats ours? Our daughter isn't desperate to get married, and she doesn't have to marry into your Sterling family." Dad slammed the table hard. The media present all turned their cameras towards the Sterling and Miller families. Although the Sterling family was a prominent name in the city's elite circles, our Miller family wasn't bad either. The Sterling family had been in decline in recent years, they still had to rely on our family. Mr. Sterling immediately raised his glass with a forced smile. This illegitimate child, where did he come from? He must have something wrong with his head. We've had a relationship for so many years. You wouldn't trust a child over me, would you? Mr. Sterling's words made Jessica on the stage turn paler inch by inch. Her background was her greatest pain. Watching her fingernails digging into her palms, a smile curled on my lips. What you owe me is just beginning. Come quickly and explain to Mr. Miller. Today's incident is just an accident. You don't even know that child with problems. Mr. Sterling looked at Robert Sterling with a gloomy expression. Today is the wedding of the heir to the Sterling fortune, and this kind of mess happened. His face was completely ruined. Robert Sterling explained, his scalp tingling. Mr. Miller, I don't know that child at all. The bridesmaid is Sophia's best friend. Sophia chose her own bridesmaid. If you don't believe me, don't you believe your own daughter? Furthermore, it's not impossible for a child to be used by someone with ill intentions. For you to blame our family like this is truly putting us in a difficult position. Towards the end of his explanation, Robert Sterling even sounded a little wronged. Dad's expression softened. In that case, Grandpa Sterling. Ethan rushed up and hugged Mr. Sterling. Get lost, you little brat. Mr. Sterling was already furious and kicked his own grandson far away with one foot. The guests weren't fools. That's too cruel. Why argue with a child? It's hard to say anything about how the Sterling family conducts themselves. Ethan. Jessica rushed over and helped up her son. Are you okay? Mom will check. Jessica was heartbroken. Her son's head hit the corner of a table and was bleeding. Jessica was both heartbroken and furious and even glared at Robert Sterling. Robert Sterling's fists trembled with force before he managed to resist helping his son. I already told you I don't know this child. Just tell the security guards to take the child away. Dad, don't get so angry. Robert Sterling tried to calm his father down. Mr. Miller, I also promise you, I truly have no relationship with any other woman. If I do, may I be struck by lightning. Robert Sterling said solemnly. His sincere appearance almost convinced even me. 6 Is that so? I walked out from backstage dressed in a black outfit, holding a USB drive. Can you guarantee that your promises are all true? I looked at Robert Sterling, my smile sharp. Robert Sterling hesitated for just 2 seconds, then said with certainty, I can. Great. I inserted the USB drive into the computer. Footage of Ethan calling Robert Sterling dad and Robert Sterling's plans to scheme for everything the Miller family had were all exposed on computer screen. Dad, I missed you so much. This is my son. Everything the Miller family has will be ours. The scenes of Robert Sterling and the child played on repeat on the big screen. He rushed towards me, trying to explain, but was stopped by the bodyguards I had hired. Jessica covered Ethan's eyes and ears, her hands trembling uncontrollably. Don't be scared, Ethan, Mom will take you to the hospital. The media at the scene started snapping pictures of her face like crazy. She almost bent her head down to the ground, her voice like a mosquito's. Stop taking pictures. Please, I beg you. You had the nerve to be a mistress, and you're afraid of being photographed? The mistress has so much to say. We exchanged a look from a distance. I curved my lips into a faint smile. At the same time, Robert Sterling tried to explain to me, no, it's not like that, Sophia, listen to me. Robert Sterling looked at me, his voice barely audible. This is disgusting. They're not even married yet, and the illegitimate child outside is already this big. He was just making solemn vows, saying it like it was true. I almost believed him. People in the city's elite circles even rumored the heir to the sterling fortune was devoted. Turns out he's just a complete fraud. Seriously, how rotten. And he still wants the woman's property. It seems they've really fallen from grace. The whispering of the guests made Mr. Sterling's face darken even more. Dad was already beyond furious. This is the fine son you raised. There's no need for our families to associate anymore. Dad turned and left. The Miller family had already been completely disgraced because of the Sterlings. Mr. Sterling couldn't make Dad stay, furious to the point of madness. What in the world are you doing? Quickly, explain yourself to Sophia properly. A glass flew towards Robert Sterling. It scraped his forehead, drawing blood. I only felt satisfaction. From the moment I discovered I had been to say dead, an unnamed fire had been burning in my heart. Robert Sterling didn't bother to wipe the blood from his forehead, looking utterly pathetic. Sophia, listen to me. For the sake of the 5 years we've been together, please give me a chance to explain, okay? I watched him with interest. He still had that affectionate look. I signaled the bodyguards beside me to move away. I wanted to see what excuses he would come up with. Sophia, you're the only one I've ever loved, believe me. It was all Jessica, she seduced me. She drugged me and forced me to be with her. But my heart is only for you. I was just too soft-hearted and got tricked by her. I promise you, there won't be a next time. I'll make sure she can't survive here in the country. Can't we just live happily together? Robert Sterling tugged at my sleeve, bent over, looking utterly subservient. I clutched the voice recorder in my hand. Jessica was foolish, and so was Robert Sterling. How could I pretend nothing had happened? I quietly watched Robert Sterling pleading with me. Sophia, I was wrong this time. But I truly love you. Give me another chance. There won't be a next time, Sophia. Robert Sterling's forehead was bleeding, his face anxious, but he was still trying to explain to me, so he could get my family's property. I forcefully shook off Robert Sterling's hand. Don't touch me. You're disgusting. Robert Sterling's face was ashen, frantically wiping his hand. Sophia, it's not dirty anymore. How disgusting. I had no desire to deal with them anymore. They were pathetic, but wasn't I just tearing open my own wounds? I turned and walked away. Robert Sterling shouted after me, Sophia. I didn't look back. Thud. A thud echoed on the stage. The audience below erupted in an uproar. Robert Sterling, the heir to the Sterling fortune, had knelt down. I turned back to look at him. He was kneeling on the ground, pleading for my forgiveness without any dignity. Sophia, can you please forgive me? This was the first time I had ever seen him cry. How pathetic. I took a deep breath. He didn't appreciate me when I loved him. Now that I didn't love him anymore, he was clinging to me again, begging for my forgiveness over and over. I ignored him, turned and walked away, throwing away the worthless engagement ring. He shouted after me, Sophia, I'll kneel here until you forgive me. I didn't stop walking. This was what he deserved. 7th Sophia, why are you back here? Olivia came over and said, sounding annoyed, it's such bad luck. I was packing my things at the apartment I shared with Robert Sterling. But you were amazing at the wedding. Exposing the scumbag and conniving woman felt so good to watch. Olivia's cheerful voice warmed my heart. In my previous life, because I had trusted that scumbag, I had ruined my sister and my parents. But they had never blamed me. This time, I definitely wouldn't make the same mistake again, letting anyone hurt my family again. Just throw all these things out. I had the security guards throw out everything related to Robert Sterling. Hey, what are you doing picking up garbage? Olivia and I were just about to leave when we ran into Robert Sterling picking up our photos from the dumpster. Who are you pretending to be so affectionate for? Olivia said dismissively. I pulled Olivia and walked around him, but he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Sophia, I know I was wrong. But I beg you, for the sake of the 5 years we were together, can you help me make a clarification to the media? Or maybe we can get back together? I won't have any connection with those two people anymore, Robert Sterling promised me solemnly. But to my ears, his promises were no different from a dog barking. You're only coming to me because the Sterling family's stock plummeted, aren't you? I said without hesitation. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. No, it's not. I truly know I was wrong and I want to ask for your forgiveness. Bullshit. Although I had expected this, my heart still felt a sting. The person I had been with for 5 years was a complete fraud from beginning to end. He wouldn't apologize because of our relationship, he would only use me for his own selfish desires. I pulled free from his grip, my voice cold. Don't ever come looking for me again. I will not forgive you, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. Robert Sterling was still unwilling to give up. I said quietly, if you keep holding on, I don't mind reintroducing your glorious deeds to the media. He immediately let go of my hand. I laughed mockingly. It was all just an act. Jessica was even more thick-skinned than I thought. Ever since Jessica returned here, I had confidently entrusted the company I started myself to Jessica to manage. My parents had gotten older over the years, so I took over the company. And Jessica happened to study accounting. Before, I hadn't been wary of her. Now, thinking about it is laughable. Sophia. She still acted like a good friend. If everyone hadn't seen her as a mistress, they probably would have been fooled by her. I avoided her outstretched hand with a fake smile. You should go process your resignation. Also, prepare to be summoned by the police. What? Jessica widened her eyes in disbelief. I had entrusted my company management to Jessica for 2 reasons. First, there were professional managers available, and second, I trusted Jessica. But now, it seems that trust has put my company in danger. The company has huge financial losses, which are your doing. I have already handed the evidence over to the police, I said flatly. Jessica seemed to find it hard to believe. I smiled cruelly. You don't understand the law. Doesn't Robert Sterling understand it? He had already found a scapegoat for himself. No, I don't believe it. You're lying to me. Jessica insisted I was lying. How boring. Seeing her trust that scumbag Robert Sterling so much was like seeing my own incredibly foolish self from before. If you don't believe it, fine. You can't wake someone who is pretending to be asleep. I sent her the words Robert Sterling had said at the wedding that day, about Jessica seducing him. The color slowly drained from Jessica's face, her eyes wide with disbelief. It's not like that. I ignored her. I had already put the facts out there. If she wanted to deceive herself, there was nothing I could do. The police quickly came and took Jessica away. The company's losses were nearly $1 million. If no one covered this loss, Jessica would likely face decades in prison. I've already transferred the money to you. Drop the lawsuit. Robert Sterling arranged to meet me at a coffee shop. Looking at the transfer confirmation page, I felt a little wistful. Robert Sterling was truly devoted to Jessica, wasn't he? How did I not see that before? I pushed down the complex thoughts in my heart and picked up my bag to leave. Sophia. I miss you. I turned back to look at Robert Sterling. His face was ashen and gaunt, completely different from his former spirited appearance. I knew he just needed someone by his side, a quiet, obedient, gentle, and considerate tool. But I wasn't that person. I left without hesitation. Jessica was released soon after. She looked smug as she packed her things. I told you, Rob loves me. I'm different from you. I smiled. Do you love him, though? You two are deceiving each other. One day, the truth will come out, I said with a half smile. While I was investigating the company's losses, I found that Jessica's money didn't all go to Robert Sterling. Some of it went to an account abroad. That person is Ethan's real father. Panic flashed in Jessica's eyes before she quickly composed herself. I am now the girlfriend of the heir to the Sterling fortune. You'd better show some respect when you talk to me. A laughable clown. I nodded indifferently. A family on the verge of decline and a disgraced scion of the CI. Ties elite circles. I'll leave them to you to serve. And just so you know, I said meaningfully, the Sterling family now can't even compare to our Miller family. Jessica's face twisted with anger. You just happened to be born into a better family. Why do you always look down on people? She was furious and blurted out the secret she had hidden in her heart for years. I finally understood. She didn't love Robert Sterling at all. She was just jealous of me. No matter what I did, buying her gifts, taking her out to eat, covering part of her expenses abroad, letting her manage my company, she felt I was patronizing her. She felt I was looking down on her. Fine, then from now on, we have absolutely no relationship, and you don't need to accept my condescending charity anymore. My expression turned cold, and I expressionlessly ordered her out. Security, escort this unauthorized person out. Sophia, I will definitely have a better life than you. I will. Her eyes were bloodshot as she declared war on me. 9 facts proved her wrong. The Sterling family's company incurred losses. Someone threatened the Sterling family by using Jessica and Ethan's lives. Ethan was in a car accident as a result. Robert Sterling rushed to the hospital in a panic, wanting to save his wife and child. But while donating blood, he discovered that he and Jessica couldn't possibly have a child with that blood type. What a ridiculous joke. Tell me, whose child is this? Robert Sterling was furious, going mad. Jessica lay in the hospital bed. The impact from the car accident hadn't healed yet, and being frightened by Robert Sterling like this, her tears flowed like a broken string of pearls. She explained fearfully, Rob, what are you talking about? Ethan is definitely your child. Why don't you believe me? Jessica thought she could get away with it by acting pitiful like before. But no man would be careless about something like this. Compared to believing Jessica, he believed science. NCE more. You cheated on me. I knew there was a reason you lost so much money. Turns out you were using it to support some man outside. You cheap woman. Robert Sterling slapped Jessica hard, knocking her to the ground. Jessica lay on the ground, pathetic, still making a last plea. Believe me, Rob. I didn't. If you don't believe me, go get a paternity test. I admired Jessica's mindset. Her psychological resilience was strong. But thinking about the scene where she declared war on me, I didn't mind adding fuel to the fire. I anonymously sent Robert Sterling Jessica's payment records. Robert Sterling had been almost convinced by Jessica, but one message sent her back to hell. Then tell me, who is this man? All the money I gave you over the years, you gave it all to this man, didn't you? You're truly despicable. Robert Sterling got angrier and angrier as he spoke. He felt utterly disgraced, especially when he saw me. He couldn't help but backhand Jessica again. Jessica couldn't take it anymore. What if I did? I lived in the shadows for so many years. Was I supposed to remain faithful to you like a widow? More and more people gathered to watch. Robert Sterling cared most about his reputation. He felt like his face was being rubbed in the dirt. Bitch! He landed a heavy punch on Jessica's injured leg. Jessica's face contorted with pain. Sir, this is a hospital, please calm down. Security guards and nurses rushed over to break up the fight. But Robert Sterling was in a fit of rage. He didn't hear anything, he just kept venting his anger, hitting Jessica repeatedly, until Jessica completely lost consciousness. What are you looking at? Mom asked after coming out from her checkup. I took Mom's arm and said casually, nothing, just saw a little incident. How was your checkup? It was great. You girl, always worrying about your dad and me. We're doing fine. Don't worry, Mom gently patted my arm. My heart ached. If Olivia hadn't been reborn and told me all this, I don't know what Robert Sterling would have done to my parents. I felt grateful in my heart. Thankfully, none of the tragedies happened. The video of Robert Sterling hitting Jessica was uploaded online. Although the Sterling family later deleted the video, it couldn't stop the fact that their reputation was ruined. And Jessica also became despised by everyone, like a pariah. Jessica was also involved in the financial issues at Robert Sterling's company. He ruthlessly went after Jessica, suing her to compensate for the huge losses. Jessica had no background or connections, she was no match for the Sterling family and finally ended up in prison. And the Sterling family also fell out of the city's elite circles. The former glamorous heir to the Sterling fortune became the talk of the city's elite circles. When I returned home, Robert Sterling was waiting outside my house. Security, there's an unwelcome person here, please escort him away. I didn't hesitate to tell them to remove him. Don't make me leave. I have nowhere to go, Robert Sterling said, sounding very wronged. But what did that have to do with me? All of this was his own doing. Lately, I keep having dreams. I dream we get married. I dream we have a very cute baby. Successful careers, a happy family. Wouldn't that be good? Every time I have this dream, I'm afraid to wake up, Sophia. I'm afraid that as soon as I wake up, you'll look at me with that same look of disdain and indifference. I feel so much pain. Robert Sterling looked up. I then noticed how haggard he looked. His face was unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, and tears in his eyes. The dream was beautiful, but the reality was, after I married him, he ruined my family. Thinking of this, I lost my patience. Get lost, Robert Sterling. There's been nothing between us for a long time. Next time you do this, don't make me call the police. Can we really not go back? Robert Sterling's tears fell like a string of broken pearls. I ignored him. Because we could never go back, I didn't want any more entanglement. I'm truly sorry, Sophia. You were so good to me before, but I didn't know how to cherish it. Robert Sterling knelt down. He was bowing to me, hitting his head on the ground. The high and mighty heir to the Sterling fortune was bowing to me. I laughed, laughing so hard tears almost came to my eyes. Robert Sterling, affection that comes too late is worthless. He stopped bowing for a moment, then continued. I didn't want to waste any more words on him, turned and went home. If he wanted to kneel, let him. The next morning, when I woke up, Robert Sterling was already gone. I heard it had rained heavily last night, and Robert Sterling, after kneeling and bowing repeatedly 999 times, had collapsed from exhaustion and passed out. I let those words drift away like smoke. Gone and forgotten. Today was a good day. I took Mom, Dad, and Olivia abroad for a trip. Sophia, you're amazing. Olivia praised me. I patted Olivia's head. Thank you, my dear sister. Mom and Dad watched us, their smiles kind. After the storm, the sky clears. My life was like that too.